Getting a reputation rolling across Canada is no mean feat. Like so many bands in this country, L'etranger just don't appear as exotic to Canadians as bands of equal talent who come from abroad.
We had an interesting experience a long time ago. We opened for the Dead Kennedys, which was a strange match in the first place, but there was a lot of kids in the very front row with swastikas on and this sort of thing, and we made a point to mention that we were not there to play for people who think that, you know, wearing a swastika is fun. Yeah. And so immediately we got a barrage of spit and beer bottles and this sort of thing. The first time anyone's really thrown a beer bottle at us. And we couldn't understand why this sort of reaction was happening. But then when the Dead Kennedys came on, they said the exact same thing. And everyone just loved them, yeah. And everyone just applauded and said, "Oh, all right, man, that's it," you know. So this is the sort of thing that I think happens a lot in Toronto.
Now, as you well know, we did a story recently on the new music about independent recording artists, and at the time I was very encouraged, thinking there are all these people putting out cassettes and records, and isn't it wonderful? But since then, I've not been so sure. It seems to me that maximum benefit isn't gotten from it. Like the local bands just don't push quite far enough, as opposed to England, where they really do push. What do you think the difference is due to?
I think people are more geared to the mass media presentation of pop music in Canada, anyways. And I think you really have to be interested in the independent music scene to check out the bands, whereas in England, I think because there's more people and there's more bands and there's more accessibility to the media and to the radio stations, well, especially. I think there's more availability, and so people are more in tune to it. I think they're more used to it over there.
Also, the problem with Canada is just the size. I mean, you can be a local artist in Toronto, but you're going to have a lot of money to tour 2,000 miles to get to be a local artist in Vancouver or Calgary or wherever else, whereas in England, I mean, independent bands don't need all that much money to tour just because everything is so centralized.
This business of writing political content in lyrics has always interested me ever since the Clash were writing that kind of material. I thought, on the one hand, it's pretty good that a 15-year-old can be walking down the street and instead of singing songs about my baby and my baby's car, they're singing about Sandinista and Washington Bullets and that sort of thing.
The question always comes up, you know, why do you guys write songs about apartheid? Why do you guys write about this? Why do you write about that? Well, I mean, people also sometimes think that it's this really calculated thing. We sit down and try and figure out what an issue is that we should bring our attention to, but, I mean, I don't know. We write how we see things, and I don't really think it's political so much. It's just how we see ourselves in the community.
We're trying to say, as a band, that, yeah, there are other ways maybe of viewing things, or at least let's start a dialogue in which we could maybe go over the two opposing views. We know that L'etranger isn't going to change the world or anything like that, but I think that it's important for whoever has it in them to say something, to say it.
I think that having some kind of laissez-faire attitude that, well, things are bad and you're not going to change them, I mean, that's not just pissing on the wind, that's pissing on yourself, because, I mean, you don't even try to work to make things better.
Still ahead on the new music, Cyndi Lauper, the Pucko Orchestra, and LaToya Jackson.